Will Nostradamus' prophecies come true in 2025? He made 4 very significant predictions for the coming year, which I want to explain closely today. Stay tuned until the end, because the final prediction is truly remarkable. But before I begin, first a warm welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you are interested in spiritual topics or astrology, feel free to subscribe to my free newsletter, where I share many valuable tips and predictions with you every week. You can find the link to sign up right below this video. But before we begin, who was Nostradamus and why are his prophecies still so famous today? Nostradamus, a French physician and astrologer, wrote his famous quatrains in the 16th century, cryptic poems that predict future events. What makes Nostradamus so extraordinary is the accuracy of some of his predictions. He foresaw events such as the Great Fire of London, Napoleon's rise to power, and even the terrorist attack of September 11. This astonishing precision has earned him worldwide fame to this day. The first of the 4 predictions concerns natural disasters and flooding. Nostradamus predicted that the year 2025 could be marked by massive flooding that would destroy entire coastal cities. His prophecies, often written in poetic and metaphorical language, leave much room for interpretation. People who analyze his writings see this as a reference to a global climate catastrophe or the rising sea levels caused by melting polar ice caps. This could lead to devastating destruction in cities and coastal regions worldwide. In my spiritual forecast and also my astrological preview for the next year, I also pointed out that the risk of flooding or even tsunamis could be particularly high in 2025. This is partly due to the upcoming solar eclipse on March 29, which coincides with unfavorable planetary energies in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is connected to the oceans. It is a water sign and heavily influenced by Neptune, the ruler of the seas. Neptune is also placed in Pisces and is traditionally associated with water and liquids, which further increases the likelihood of such natural disasters. It is always challenging to make detailed predictions about which specific countries or regions, such as coastal areas, might be affected. However, we should prepare for such scenarios, as the combination of planetary energies and climate changes increases the risk of flooding and natural disasters. This is a time that calls for caution and foresight, not out of fear, but with the awareness that timely preparation can help mitigate the possible impacts of such floods. While the astrological energies and Nostradamus' prophecies provide clues, it is up to us to respond responsibly to the signs of the times. Let's move on to the second prediction for 2025. Quantum physics and breakthroughs in science. According to interpretations of Nostradamus' writings, it is speculated that the year 2025 could be marked by significant scientific discoveries, particularly in the field of quantum physics. These new insights could revolutionize our understanding of the universe and pave the way for groundbreaking technologies or healing methods. Quantum physics is a fascinating field that deals with the smallest particles of nature, particles that often behave in unexpected ways. Interestingly, these particles can sometimes act like tiny spheres, particles, and at other times like waves. Their behavior depends on how we observe them, a phenomenon that upends the laws of classical physics. I have spoken about these ideas many times before, and it will be exciting to see what breakthroughs awaits us in 2025. If we can consciously influence particles, we hold the key to manifestation and even healing. As I have mentioned in previous videos, shadow organizations on Earth already possess advanced technologies from extraterrestrials that can achieve such things, but this knowledge has not yet been made available to the public. In my astrology update for 2025, I have already pointed out that Jupiter's entry into the sign of Gemini in May could bring significant advancements in communication technology, quantum computing, and even transportation. Perhaps scientists will soon discover that the entire universe is based on frequencies. The idea that we need to know the frequency of a location to teleport there might come within reach. What we know so far only from science fiction, like Star Trek, quantum teleportation could increasingly become a reality. Maybe not in 2025 full, but it can start there. These advancements in the quantum realm could have a far-reaching impacts on our daily lives, propelling our technology into a whole new era. Cyberattacks and global chaos. Nostradamus warned of a global wave of cyberattacks in 2025, which he describes in his prophecies as a kind of cyber revolt. These attacks could be so extensive that they paralyze entire power grids, or our financial system, and communication networks. The idea that essential infrastructures worldwide could suddenly cease to function would plunge global order into chaos. What makes this particularly threatening is that these attacks could be carried out by unknown hands, a reference to unknown hackers or hard-to-identify groups whose goals and identities remain concealed. Nostradamus suggests that governments and authorities may be overwhelmed in their attempts to fend off or adequately respond to such attacks. The scale of these events could lead to the sudden collapse of a global digital infrastructure, pushing societies into crisis. As I mentioned in my astrology prediction for 2025. This fits perfectly. Planet Mars, associated with conflicts and wars, will be retrograde in the sign of Gemini during the first 2 months in 2025. Gemini governs communication, technology, and networks, and a retrograde Mars in this sign points directly to problems in these areas. A retrograde Mars indicates a time when cyber attacks, data leaks, and digital sabotage could escalate significantly. During this period, attacks on communication systems or the manipulation of information could have particularly severe consequences. The aggressive influence of Mars, combined with Gemini's themes of media and communication, could lead to a surge in hacking and large-scale technical disruptions. Nostradamus often speaks in his writings about the destruction of existing structures, which is particularly relevant here in the context of digital infrastructure. The possibility that planetary constellations such as Saturn's conjunction with Uranus or the influence of Mars on existing networks could lead to disruptions reinforces these grim prospects. Planet Uranus is also associated with sudden changes and higher technology. This could symbolize these global cyber attacks due to its aspect with Saturn. What does this mean for us? It is advisable to prepare for this possibility by becoming more aware of digital security and taking precautions to minimize the impact of such cyber attacks. Another potential factor could be increased solar activity. We have already observed extreme coronal mass ejections from the Sun in 2024. While I do not have information suggesting this could lead to a global catastrophe, isolated disruptions or outages in power and communication networks due to extreme solar eruptions are entirely possible. Now we come to the final point of his predictions, and this is truly dramatic because he speaks of violent conflicts in the world, leading to a major war. The description of cruel wars in his quatrains is often interpreted as a sign of violent confrontations throughout the world, potentially destabilizing both political and social structures. He also mentions an ancient plague that could be worse than enemies. Many interpreters view this phrase as a metaphor for a new epidemic or disease, which could pose a greater threat to the population than the actual violent conflicts. In light of the pandemic and possible future outbreaks, this could point to a renewed global health crisis, with political and military conflicts in Europe. It is noteworthy that this grim prediction occurs in a context where major planetary transits, such as the conjunction of Saturn with Rahu and Neptune and an aspect to Uranus in 2025, also point to global upheavals. The connection between Nostradamus' prophecies and the astrological influences suggests that This might not only refer to traditional military conflicts, but also to profound systemic changes triggered by diseases, wars, and social disruptions. It is essential that we do not let fear guide us, but instead connect with our inner wisdom. If we become aware of the potential challenges in our society, it is less about finding specific measures to seemingly protect ourselves from external dangers like war. What is far more crucial is to free ourselves from black and white thinking and be willing to reflect on our own issues. Every form of conflict, whether global or personal, often reflects unconscious patterns and fears. Peace begins within us. It arises when we recognize and resolve our own inner conflicts. Furthermore, we should work on becoming more conscious and addressing our own fears, which are often linked to our belief systems. Too many people still do not believe in their own power, or that their consciousness literally shapes their life. If we believe we are powerless, we will experience exactly that in our lives. However, if we recognize that our inner attitude and consciousness shape external circumstances, we can consciously decide how to respond to challenges and shape our lives. By addressing these inner issues, we can bring about positive changes not only for ourselves but also for the community. It is a process of inner growth that enables us to act more strongly, clearly, and peacefully in times of crises. If we learn to resolve our own inner conflicts and create peace within ourselves, this peace will extend to our communities and beyond. The majority of people desire harmony, and this is where our greatest power lies, in the conscious choice to create a reality based on trust, love, and compassion. From my perspective, I do not see a major war for Europe or the world, as described by Nostradamus. However, it is important to recognize that as a society and as individuals, we have an influence on how things develop. There are some regions of conflict where tensions could escalate, and it is up to us to contribute to de-escalation through peaceful solutions, conscious decisions, and clear actions. Our future is not predetermined. It is shaped by our collective awareness and actions. We could focus on using our voice and peacefully communicating to our governments that they must act in the interest of the people, in alignment with the needs for peace and stability. I know that many believe their voice doesn't count. But how can you expect to experience the power of your voice if you don't believe in it? This is clearly about finding your own self-worth and your own power. Only then are we truly in our strength. Each of us has the responsibility to contribute to a better future in a positive and peaceful way. Our representatives are there to act on our behalf, and it is up to us to ensure, through peaceful engagement and open communication, that they fulfill this role. It is important to emphasize that Nostradamus' prophecies should not be viewed as an immutable fate. His predictions are often metaphorical and are requiring interpretation within context. References to wars could just as easily apply to ongoing conflicts, such as the war in Ukraine or the Middle East. Similarly, the ancient plague might also point to events like the COVID-19 pandemic, which has profoundly affected our lives in recent years. This means that the future is open and dependent on our actions. Fear should not guide us. Instead, our awareness and choices should. Each of us has the power to make a positive impact, whether through peaceful communication, compassion, or the pursuit of harmony and justice. There is not just one world that Nostradamus described, but many possible realities. It is up to us to choose which one we want to live in and how we interact with the energies around us. It is crucial to remember our creative power. Every single one of us has the ability to shape reality through our beliefs, our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Our frequency, our inner vibration, literally determines which version of the world we find ourselves in. This frequency is influenced by our thoughts, our feelings, and mainly our beliefs. There are many versions of the world, and each one reflects what we carry within ourselves. If we move through life with fear and uncertainty, we will see this reflected in our outer reality. But when we align ourselves with peace, love, and trust, we open up to a world that mirrors these qualities. It is our decision which reality we choose for ourselves. By becoming aware of this power, we can actively work to overcome obstacles and create a better future, a future based on love, peace, and connection. Together, we are capable of overcoming challenges and building a better future, a future grounded in really what we want to experience, peace and love. The energies will bring up challenges in 2025, but they hold also the potential for healing and a new era. The same configurations that point to upheaval also carry the power to release old structures and pave the way for new positive directions. The coming year could be a time of spiritual growth and rebirth, a phase in which we focus on our higher consciousness and seize the opportunity for inner and outer transformation, a big awakening. You are the creator of your reality. Choose the best version of it. This is our gift to the world. Helping others recognize that they too carry this potential within themselves. So thank you so much for listening. Share this video with your friends and your community, and do not forget, I love you.